It's a great honor to introduce today keynote speaker, Dr. Pathak. With time constraint, I'll be brief. Pathak ji is chairperson of trustees of GBC, member of BSNA Board of Trustees. He is international president of Global Sanskrit Forum, which is empowering youth in India. He is internationally recognized for his pioneering research work in cancer, genetics, and cytogenetics. I don't know what that means, but he will explain. He is considered as one of the only 3 or 4 uniquely qualified experts on cytogenetics of human solid tumors in the world. Dr. Pathak got his PhD in mammalian cytogenetics in 1967 from BHU, Banaras Hindu University. In 1972, he joined MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, Texas, as postdoctoral fellow in biology and rose to the rank of full professor in 1986. Currently, he is lifetime emeritus professor of cancer biology and distinguished research professor of genetics at the University of Texas as MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. Sorry, he has no time for retirement. Now he has a lifetime job. Dr. Pathak has published more than 400 papers, and which were peer-reviewed in scientific journals, as has contributed for more than 20 books. He has been serving as reviewer, member of the editorial board, co-editor, and associate editor of more than 60 national and international journals, including Science and Nature. So you can figure out how many hours he works in a day at this age. And it's an inspiration for us who are much younger than him. Okay. Dr. Pathak's contributions to cancer research is recognized by many cancer centers and research institutes in US, UK, India. Dr. Pathak is also a member of various international scientific advisory boards such as Greece, Turkey, India, and US. Dr. Pathak has helped to setting up collaboration of several cancer hospitals in India with MD Anderson Cancer Center. So he's involved in helping Indian hospitals also. He is actively involved in helping the hospitals to follow the latest cancer practices. Dr. Pathak has received numerous prestigious honors and awards in the field of cancer research. The list is too long, so I have picked up the last one, which he got recently on July 10. For Professor Gordon Wayne Dewald Memorial Lecture Award entitled Pursuit of Scientific Advancement Journey of a Farm Boy. A story of perseverance. He has received several awards from BSNA and Brahmin Samaj of India, which includes Lifetime Achievement Award, Brahmin Shiromani Puruskar, Brahmin Ratan Award, to name a few. He has also received several awards from the Houston community. The list was too long, so I picked up just a few ones. I have known Dr. Pathak for a long time through our association in BSNA. In the end, I would like to say that he is a true Vaishnava. As told by Saint Narsingh Mehta in his famous bhajan, Vaishnav jan tane kahiye je peer parai jane re. Dr. Pathak has personally witnessed the pain of cancer patients and is always willing to help them. Please welcome Dr. Pathak with a big round of applause for his keynote speech. Thank you very much.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. मेरे बड़े भाई, I am speaking in Hindi, but I will speak in Khichdi language so that my younger generation can understand in English and elderly people can understand in Hindi. Whenever I meet Indian people, I like to talk in Hindi. I don't know, it comes out. I still remember, although I have lived in Houston 54 years, I still remember my village language. मैं बात करता हूँ अपने भैया से, कैसे हवा हो, का हाल चाल हो, पानी वानी बरसल है कि ना बरसल है. I remember everything. You know, some people come to this country just for 3 months, 4 months. They think we have forgotten our mother tongue. How can you do that? You cannot. So, Mishra ji, I am not worthy of what you said. I am still a village boy coming from a remote village of Uttar Pradesh. At that time, the district was Azamgarh. But my lecture is actually meant only for a younger generation. How much I have suffered and how I'm able to stand in this country for 54 years. There is a lesson. And that lesson I want to convey to our younger generation. And a little bit earlier I did say that please remember we are descendants of Sapta Rishis. There is a tremendous pressure on this. You can do anything in life you want. So now I will go away from this podium. So I was not, honestly speaking, I was not getting ready to speak because I do not know anything about Dharma or Rama or Krishna. I am a student of science, but my arm was twisted, so I had to speak. So whatever I can, I am going to speak. Next slide, please. You are seeing over here, this is S.P. Ray Chaudhary, and this is T.C. Shu. S.P. Ray Chaudhary was my PhD examiner. I did my PhD under him in Banaras Hindu University. And in MD Anderson, he was my mentor when I was a postdoc fellow. So in 1980, I invited S.P. Ray Chaudhary to MD Anderson Cancer Center. I just want to show you the background of this world-famous hospital headed by T.C. Shu. In our field, we say that T.C. Shu's lab is a mecca of mammalian cytogenetics. Please remember, I had never developed courage to write to T.C. Shu from India that I want to work in your laboratory. Never, 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 never wrote. I thought that he's such a great scientist, he will throw my letter in the trash can. But see later on what happened. Next slide, please. So I have there my science guru, and I have a spiritual guru also. This is my spiritual guru, Gyananand Saraswati ji. This picture was taken in the campus of Somnath Temple. And Gyananand Saraswati ji's grandfather was known to my grandfather. He comes from the same area I come. But at the age of 10, he left the family. He's coming from a very well-to-do family. He left it. And now he has become sannyasi. So we were in Somnath, and somebody was going to introduce me to this gentleman. You all know who this gentleman is. So he raised his hand to shake hand with me, and I immediately said like this. And Swamiji told me, Dr. Swami, that you have lived in America, you have not forgotten your culture. So please remember, during Corona also, I told everybody in Houston, don't shake hands with each other. Do pranam. Do pranam. Now my president is also doing pranam in the hospital. Okay? Next slide, please. Now, whenever jaisa desh, vaisa vesh, when I go there, Swamiji immediately put me in this kind of attire. So, next slide, please. So here is a very important sentence written. If I ask Ajay ji, who are you? He will say, I'm Ajay Pandey. He's Ajay, there will be several Ajay Pandey. He's a human being. Please remember the word human being. So life is a long journey between human being and being human. Let us take at least a step daily to cover the distance. I'm still trying to become a human being. I'm not a complete human being. I'm still trying to become. There is a tremendous philosophy in this statement. Next slide, please. Now, as Panditji mentioned, and it was mentioned earlier, the theme of this meeting is exploring Ram Rajya within us. It's a wonderful idea, wonderful idea. And Archana ji yesterday and her husband, they, as I told you, they made Ram Mai, everybody. And Ajay ji this morning, Ram Rajya ke baare mein bole. So Rama is the embodiment of righteousness. I think this is the picture installed in Ayodhya, if I'm not mistaken. Next slide, please. Now, the real lecture starts here. What is our aim in ultimate life? We want happiness, right? So our life, human life, is dependent on two wheels. Let's say bicycle, you have two wheels. You have to oil equally front wheel and back wheel. Only then the cycle will run properly. So this is the way an individual has physical body and Atma. Physical body is mortal, Atma is immortal, but we emphasize more on physical body. Our desires, immense progress in fulfilling this 3P I have written. It stands for position, possession, and prestige. We all want that. We all want that. And of course, you have cars, TV, phone, all these things for the physical body. So we oil one wheel of our life. Majority of us, not all of us, but majority of us. We neglect the other wheel, Atman. And because of that, this is the spiritual need, because of that, family breakups, violence in schools, child abuse, drugs, crime in our society, we are witnessing every day. So we have to witness, we have to be spiritual in our life, and also we have to take care of. And what our rishis and munis have done, what I have done, next slide please. Okay, that slide, yeah, here it is. Our rishis and munis, in my opinion, they were true scientists. They have done search. what we do today is called research. And there is a tremendous philosophy in this, please remember that. So our rishis and munis have done more work to improve the standard of life. जीवन नहीं जीवन कैसे इसको improve करें हम? जीवन नदी के किनारे बैठ के पूजा कर रहे हैं भगवान के साथ, जीवन को कैसे आगे बढ़ाना है? आज के साइंटिस्ट, वेस्टर्न साइंटिस्ट, what they are doing, वो hard work to make the physical body healthy and the world, outer space, a better place to live in. Their attempt being to raise the standard of living जीविका, कहाँ से पैसा ज़्यादा मिल सकता है? हमारे पास बहुत इंडियन लोग आते हैं, अमेरिकन लोग आते हैं, हमसे पूछते हैं अपने बच्चे को किस डिसिप्लिन में डालें हम कि ताकि उसको बहुत अच्छा एम्प्लॉयमेंट मिले, बहुत पैसा मिले. Yes, money is needed, but how much is enough? How much is enough? So it's very important to understand today, for the betterment of outer space, we use science of today, and for the improvement of inner space, called spirituality, has been used by Vedic sages and rishis. Today we need both. Next, please. So in India today, if you talk Paryavaran word is very common in India. Paryavaran, in my opinion, there are Prakriti, external Prakriti, and also Prakriti, internal Prakriti. And this is dependent on, now we are learning that microbiomes, those of us who are working in the field of biology, you understand that microbiomes are beneficial and others pathogenic and are known to compromise our immune system. A lot of research is going on in this area, even in the cancer. So Prakriti or nature is constituted of karma. Our karma is very important, what karma we are doing. Next slide, please. So I brought this information. Bharatiya Shiksha has given 3 rare commodities to the world. One is Sanskrit language. You all know that. I don't know anything about Sanskrit because I'm a student of science, but I'm learning Sanskrit. I'm actually enrolled myself in the school now. I'm learning U, Tika, Ti, I'm learning. So Sanskrit language, mother of many languages, and Sanskriti, Bharatiyata. These 2 things. And third is Sanskara. This is very important in my opinion. This is very, very important. So next slide, please. Human life, just you can read it. I just want you to focus your attention. The samskara involve conscious efforts to meet these needs. Vedic sages and rishis tried to transform crude animality into refined humanity. Between birth and death life, the samskara revolve. So I'm going to talk a little bit about samskara, which is in my opinion very, very important, no matter which field you are working. Next, please. So this sanskara, Hindu samskara, a social religious study of the Hindu sacraments. We have in Houston Hindu Worship Society. This was the first temple erected over there. So Pujari one day gave me a book. I was very active. Suklaji was also very active. So Pujari ji gave me this book. And when I saw that book, I smiled. And Pujari ji said, "Why you are smiling?" I know who has written this book. Raj Bali Pandey, Dr. Raj Bali Pandey. So Dr. Raj Bali Pandey, when I joined as a BS student in zoology in science college, Raj Bali Pandey was chairman of the Indology College in Houston. And he did his PhD under Professor Altica. And the topic was Sanskara. The whole PhD thesis of Dr. Raj Bali Pandey was published in a book form. And I will recommend that all of you, if you can get hold of that book, please read it. Next slide, please. So he has divided, Dr. Rajvali Pandey, BHU has divided sanskara into 4 groups. The prenatal sanskara, the sanskara of childhood, the educational sanskara, the funeral ceremonies. In 4 groups he has divided it. And I cannot give you detail because of the time constraint, but I will talk a little bit about educational sanskaras. Next, please. This came to me because every morning I spend at least 3 to 4 hours reading messages from all over the world, including India, and I learned so much. So, ध्यान से इसको पढ़िए आप. अकाल अगर अनाज का हो तो मानव मरता है. If there are no rains, nothing, you cannot have grains. So we will not have food, we will die. किंतु अकाल अगर संस्कारों का हो तो मानवता मरती है. It's a tremendous statement made over here. Please remember this and teach to your children. Next, please. All right. Now, what I have done, I have learned whatever I have learned little bit from Ramayana. I don't know Sanskrit, so I have not read it. But I have definitely read Ramcharitmanas. Tulsidas ji made it available. So I have learned some lessons from these 2 great epics and little bit from Gita. So the Ramayana and Gita are both are the true history and biology of Ram and Krishna. Now I want to tell you, when you buy any equipment in your house or in laboratory, there is a manual that comes with that. You buy a new car, there is a manual. So this Ramayana and Gita is the manual of human life. This is very, very important to understand. Everything is written over there because we can have rainy days, we can have sukh dukh, life mein hamare chalta hai. There is nobody on this earth who can say, I'm always happy or I'm always dukhi. No, it comes and goes, it's a cycle. But how to behave in that period when you are very happy or you are very dukhi? Yesterday I lost my wallet in the Houston airport. I told Suklaji, I was thinking in my mind and I was laughing also. Lost everything. I have no penny, not a single penny I have with me. My card, everything was gone. So how you behave in this case? God is always there to help. I asked Suklaji, he said, I have some money, don't worry. And luckily I have my passport in another bag, so I can fly the plane back to Houston, no problem. But at this junction, I want to tell Ajayji that Mr. Gaur, is he here? He came to receive us at the airport. Such a wonderful guy. Yesterday evening he came, he said, Dr. Pathak, I was told that you have lost your wallet, you don't have money. I have brought some money. Can I give it to you? It touched my heart. It really touched my heart. गौर साहब, आनंद गौर जी उनका नाम है. आप जहां भी हो, मैं आपको हृदय से धन्यवाद देता हूं. मैंने कहा शुक्ला जी है मेरा टिकट, मेरे को ले चलने के लिए ह्यूस्टन. So these epics, these are epics, and these epics are the manual of human life. Please remember that. Whenever I have problem, I have a little room in my house. उसको पूजा का रूम बोलते हैं. उसके अंदर मैं चला जाता हूँ. जाके चुपचाप दरवाजा बंद करके बैठ जाता हूँ. And I get solution. Even in the field of cytogenetics, जहाँ मैं क्रोमोसोम करता हूँ, क्रोमोसोम टूटता है, ये होता है, वो होता है. आज तक कोई मशीन ऐसी नहीं बनी, कोई प्रोग्राम ऐसा नहीं बना है जो हर एबनॉर्मलिटी को आइडेंटिफाई कर दे. आज तक नहीं बना. मैंने नासा के साथ बहुत काम किया है, कोई ऐसा लिंक नहीं है. लेकिन मैं उस कमरे में घुसता हूँ, बैठता हूँ, मनन करता हूँ, तो मेरे को सोल्यूशन मिल जाता है हमेशा. This is the reason I was able to survive in MD and Darshan. So next slide, please. So now I'm going to run a little bit. प्रातः काल उठ के रघुनाथा, मात पिता गुरु नामय माथा. आयस मांग करें पुर काजा, देख चरित हर्षय मन राजा. प्रातः काल उठ के रघुनाथा, मात पिता गुरु नामय माथा. आप समझ रहे हैं उसका मतलब? आज कितने बच्चे करते हैं ऐसा? कितने बच्चे करते हैं? मेरा बच्चा खुद नहीं करता है। लेकिन इसका अर्थ क्या हो रहा है, इसका असर क्या पड़ रहा है सोसाइटी के ऊपर? नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज। ओके, रीड दिस वेरी केयरफुली। I have given a lot of times to prepare this slide. A student has duty to study and study sincerely. Our parents have their own well-defined duties. I have seen, and it breaks my heart. Both wife and husband are working. They come in the evening. The little baby is with the maid servant all day. In the evening they come. They are on the bed, telephone. Father is looking into telephone, mother is looking into telephone. Baby is in the middle, little baby. He wants to go to the mother. Mother says, go over there. I'm busy with my telephone. Baby goes over there. And father says, I'm busy with my telephone. Go to your mother. The little baby. What kind of psychology that little baby is developing? Little bit later, baby goes, sleeps. Please remember, these are not simple things. They are very important things that are happening today in this society. So teachers, physicians, scientists, leaders, and saints, they all have their well-defined duties. If they all perform their duties following the doctrines of dharma. Dharma means not just putting chandan. Dharma means dharma karna. जो लाइफ में आप धर्म करते हैं उसको धर्म बोलते हैं. There is only one dharma. There is a tremendous difference between dharma and religion. Dharma is the mother. So dharma is very, very important. That is Sanatana Dharma. If they all perform their duties following the doctrines of dharma, then there will be happiness everywhere on earth. Today, please remember this, there is too much unrest and violence in the society. The family values are deteriorating rapidly, where elders are made to feel useless, unwanted and burdensome. Why? Because parents are not giving sanskara to their children. Very, very important. Teachers are not teaching their students properly. Scientists are not collecting research data honestly. Last year, close to 10,000 papers were retracted. If anybody is interested, I can send you the reference. I'm not telling that all 10,000 were forgery done, but different ways. Scientists are not collecting research data honestly, employers are not training their employees properly, and physicians are billing excessively to their patients, insurance company, and Medicare. Forgive me if there is any physician over here. This is true. I know 3-4 MDs, wife and husband both, from India. They are practicing in Houston. They are in jail. Right now, they are in jail. Why they are in jail? This is the last point I'm mentioning. Today in India, what is happening? We used to consider doctors, MDs, as भगवान है, लेकिन आज वो भगवान नहीं रहा. वो पैसे के लिए डेड बॉडी को, डेड पेशेंट को मास्क लगा के छोड़ा है पैसा लेने के लिए. आज ये दशा हो गई इंडिया में. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. So lesson from Ramayana, Sri Rama's life, which teaches virtuous and privileged living in the manual of navigating complexity of human life, following his humane qualities. We can become better humans and make positive contribution to society by living with virtue, integrity, compassion, loyalty, truth, and sacrifice. Lord Ram's Leela emphasizes the importance of happy, harmonious, united family. This is very, very important. I want to bring the example of my own family in India. Only me and my younger brother, we are together. All other Pathak family, they are all separated from each other. Including my cousins, उनके children भी अलग-अलग अपना, उनकी बीबी जो है चूल्हा बनाते रखिए. Please remember this. This is very, very important. What we are learning from Ramayana. So, united family and devotion to his guru, parents, brothers, wife, and Kul Guru mates. Next slide, please. The story of Ram and Devi Sita is a tale of unrelenting love and devotion. The story teaches us that pure and selfless love is the secret to immense power and strength even in the darkest hours. The ideals of love, commitment, loyalty, and mutual respect that are exemplified by Devi Sita and Sri Ram form the foundation of a strong and harmonious marriages. हमारी बहनें, हमारी जो लड़कियां हैं, इससे लेसन ले सकती हैं लाइफ कैसे चलता है. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. Lord Rama forced to be exiled for 14 years at the demand of Queen Kaikeyi just a day before his coronation. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? What might have happened to Rama? Sri Ram was steadfast in his determination and with cool mind accepted his new forest journey with courage. Although born into a royal family, he was left with nothing. सब कपड़े उतार के, सब चीज उतार के, नंगे पांव गए बेचारे, and had to live as a hermit. That was the story of Rama. If it happens to us today, at least I will not be able to tolerate this. Next, please. Sri Rama treated everyone with humility and respect, listened to everyone and made his final judgment. Despite being a mighty warrior, Sri Ram never boasted about his achievements or looked down upon others. Sri Ram faced numerous challenges and obstacles in his life, but never let his determination and perseverance falter. So there is a lesson for all of us. Next, please. Sri Ram's unyielding patience in dealing with challenges teaches us that we can control life's difficulties with humility, composure, determination, and strength. Most importantly, be courteous, respectful, and listen to your gurus, parents, and true friends. Who is your true friend? Who is always praising you? Is he your true friend? Or you have a friend who is praising you also, criticizing you also when you are doing something wrong? Who is your true friend? I asked this question to my son, and he said, Daddy, second one. So second one is your real friend who actually praises you also and criticizes you also, because he is trying to correct you. A person who is praising you continuously, he is not your true friend. He will go somewhere else and criticize you over there. Please remember, वो मक्खन लगाने वाला आदमी है, वो ऑयलिंग करता है, वो ऐसा आदमी, ऐसा फ्रेंड नहीं चाहिए. So some of these points actually I got from Dr. Surya Nandaji, who is Acharya at Arya Samaj Houston. He is our teacher. And this Dr. Kapil Mehta, a retired professor from MD Anderson. I call him Munivarji. He passed on this information to me, which I am sharing with you. It is not my observation. Next, please. Now, I'm going to talk about real thing, what I have to talk. So, this is blooms from the backyard of an Indian farm boy of Houston. I love flowers in my backyard. Just early in the morning, I get up and I want to see flowers. Because when you see flower, your whole day, you have to laugh, smile. That is the idea. Next, please. Up now, I'm talking about my life. As a BS student in 1961 in Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, India, I like to use the word Bharat, not India, India. So I'm cutting India completely. I was not interested in cytogenetics. Cytogenetics is the study of chromosomes that brings the characteristic from your parents in you. So cytogenetics, I was a BS student, I used to cut sections of plants, and I was very good in that, I will tell you. So teacher will ask other students to come and take a look at this section. I still remember xylem, phloem, candium. Anybody who is a botany student will know this. So I thought I will go for botany master degree program. So I applied. And Dr. R.D. Mishra, very well-known plant ecologist in India, he was the chairman. What happened? I did not get admission in botany. I had 2 marks less. I did not want to go to chemistry because chemistry was smell or something. I was dumped, the word D-U-M-P, dumped in zoology. So, at that time something else happened. A South Indian professor got his PhD from London College, Imperial College London, and he came to BHU and he did study chromosomes. So he was showing us chromosome from the onion root tip, the onion, and he made preparation in such a way that it looks like a spaghetti ball. You cannot count the chromosome. And I decided I will never ever go to in that field. I will never study chromosome. But later on, what happened? See, next please. I did not get admission in botany. I already told you because I had 2 marks less. Next please. But I didn't give up. This is actually story for our younger generation. I was not appointed as faculty in zoology department of Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, in 67. It so happened that zoology is a theoretical subject. But luckily, I'm not worthy. I got first class first. I got the gold medal. And all my friends, they got B or C or some flunked also. So immediately I started my research under the chairman of zoology department, and he told me apply for grant, and I applied for some fellowship. To CSIR gave me 250 rupees as a scholarship in that time, and $1,500 rupees as a contingency money to buy things. And I was able to write at least 5-6 papers also. Then 6 positions were advertised in zoology department of assistant professor, and we were 7 local candidate. I went to my professor, I asked him, sir, should I apply? He said, why not? He was a very tall Bengali fellow. He said, why not? So I thought he is giving me green light. I applied. Interview was held. There were 3 experts. They were coming from other universities. Whatever question they asked, I satisfactorily answered. I came out. Some of my classmates came out crying because they could not answer. And every faculty member in the department was actually complimenting me that you are chairman, student, you are first class first, you have publication, you will be selected first. But guess what happened? I was the only one not selected. I was not selected. So I never asked my professor why I was not selected. But 9-10 months later, he told me, Pathak, every expert put you on the top. You were the topmost selection list. But I told them, do not select my student. Select the student of my associates. I want to see harmony in the department. Can you find this kind of teacher today? You cannot. It is impossible. But look what happened. For 9 months, 10 months, I was trying to hide my face under the table because my friends, parents will come to the hostel. They say, hey, Pathakji, what happened? You got first class first. You did not get the job. My son got the job. I had no answer. I was cutting a sorry figure. But God has something else about me. That is what I am going to tell you. I am in a MD Anderson world famous hospital. It is called second to none in the world cancer center. I am working there. They are not relieving me. Even working there for 54 years. All my friends who were selected, they became chairman, retired. Some of them retired from life also. Some of them have not seen America. They have not seen MD Anderson. I am still there. So God has something special for me. So for that, next slide please. Okay, read it very carefully. I try to translate it in English also. भगवान वो नहीं करता जो आपको अच्छा लगता है. मुझको अच्छा लगा था कि मेरा अपॉइंटमेंट हो जाएगा. भगवान वो करता है जो आपके लिए अच्छा होता है. This is a lesson for our younger generation. You may face this situation. So don't give up. God does not do what you think is good for you. but God does that He thinks is good for you. So God actually had something better for me, that I have to come to America and I have to be in the MD Anderson. So this is a great lesson I learned. Next, please. So, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेश, मा फलेश कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतु हु माते संग अस्तु अकर्मणि. ये बहुत इसमें मैसेज भरा है इस श्लोक में. मैं अभी सीख रहा हूँ सूर्य नंदा जी के हेल्प से. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. I never wrote to any mentor for the of the Western countries for a postdoctoral position in my life. But how I ended up in Houston? In Baylor College of Medicine, there was an Indian professor. He was assistant professor. He wrote a letter to my professor that if you have any student, send me. I have money, I will give you. And I was working in Tripura Forest at that time. So my professor recommended my name. And as soon as I sent my credential, I got a job, postdoctoral position in Baylor College of Medicine. So before coming to Baylor, I wrote a letter to T.C. Shu. I wrote him that, sir, I am coming to Baylor College of Medicine. I do not know how far is the MD Anderson Cancer Center, but I would certainly like to meet you. I never wrote to him because I could not have courage to write him for a postdoctoral position. Guess what happened? I came to Baylor and I used to go to attend lectures in Dr. T.C. Shu's lab. 6 months later, he told me, Pathak, if you want to work on chromosomes, come to my office, come to my laboratory. And that night I could not sleep. I tell you, millions of dollars you give me, I will not get that happiness. I wrote to my professor, sir, T.C. Shu has told me like this. He said, Pathak, you stay in the laboratory where you are at least 6 more months and publish the data, because whatever my professor has seen in insect chromosome and here and there, I was finding in human chromosome. Yes? So he said, publish the data. If you don't publish the data, go to T.C. Shu's lab, you get a new project and you will forget that. So I told T.C. Shu that please give me 2 more months, I want to stay. And he told me, I will wait 1 year for you. But within 3-4 months, I finished the data, I joined his laboratory. So the only progress I have done in my life, Baylor is here, there is a road in between, and MD Anderson is next door. This is the only progress I have done in my life. That's it. And the rest is the history. So I never wrote to anybody. Next, please. Okay, I was working on Himalayas. In India, there is tendency, at least in zoology we have seen, once you get your PhD, then the research career is over. They say, I have done PhD, what else I have to do? My professor did not believe in this. He said, no, Pathak, this is the reason I did not want you to get the position of assistant professor. Go in the field, collect more animals and work on that. So he put me on the research. So I went to Himalaya, base of Himalayas, and collected some mice and made chromosome preparation. And that time people knew that mouse has only 40 chromosomes. Anybody who is working in the field of biology will know that. But I collected mice, they have 22 chromosomes. So I wrote a small note, sent it to Dr. Shu, because he used to publish a small journal. So he noticed me, so I made this slide. I discovered the mouse with 22 chromosomes, or in the true sense, I was discovered by T.C. Shu because of this report, which I published in '69. So mouse, which is the vehicle of Ganesha Ji, because of their blessings, I'm surviving in MD Anderson. Next slide, please. Next slide. These are the chromosomes. Anybody? This is made in '69 under the tree and hypotonic that we use. I got water from the rice field. The cow dung was floating. I filtered it and made the chromosome preparation. Even today, you cannot make better than this preparation sitting in MD Anderson. Triple distilled water, whatever you use. But bending and other things you can do. So these are the chromosomes of that mouse. Next slide, please. So when I joined MD Anderson, it was just one building. Next slide, please. Today, this is one campus of MD Anderson. This is the downtown Houston University. This is the MD Anderson. Buildings are connected with elevated bridges. There are 4-wheelers, 20 of them. They run, they transport passengers, patients and doctors from one building to another. This is the North Campus. We have Mid Campus, we have South Campus. The hospital is so big. The time I joined, there were only 2,000 employees. Only 2,000. Today we have 25,000 paid doctors and scientists in that hospital. It's the biggest in the world, actually. No hospital is bigger than this. Next slide, please. So, with my study, I made a statement on paper when I write chromosomes never lie. If you know the chromosome. And today in America, there is problem. Sanjay ji will know this very well, or anybody who is in the field of cell biology will know. Cell line contamination. ATCC is distributing cell line to everybody. But in the name of human, they are sending you mouse, rat, cat. And we can identify that very easily because chromosomes are the key. No matter how chromosomes are rearranged, if you know, you can identify mouse from human, human to monkey, monkey to sheep, goat, whatnot. Next, please. So here is the human female. From female, if you make chromosome preparation, this is the way you get 2X chromosome. One chromosome is coming from mother, one from father, one from mother, one from father. Now here I want to tell you something. On single cell level, we are all Ardhanarishwar. 23 chromosomes from your mother, 23 from your father. On single cell level. Now, I will tell you the story also over here. In Houston, we have University of Houston, very big university. So Indian lady is the chancellor of that university. Dr. Renu Khatur, she comes from Lucknow. So when she was appointed, the Women's Faculty Association of MD Anderson thought that, my God, who is this lady coming from India? She became chancellor of the university. So they invited her to give a lecture in India. So she came, I also went over there. So the head of the Women's Faculty Association asked the president of MD Anderson, Dr. John Mendelsohn. He died 2 years ago. He asked Mendelsohn to introduce the speaker. And he stood up over there and said, oh, today we have a female speaker, her name is so-and-so, and she was invited by the Female Faculty Association. I do not know why they asked a male to introduce her. I cut that point. So when everything was over, I went there, said hello to Renu Khatur, and then I went to my president and grabbed his hand. I said, you said you are a male? I'm telling you are intersex. You have 23 chromosomes from your father, 23 from your mother. So on single cell level, you are male and female both. Can you cut it off? He is James Watson's student. He waited for a while and said, saying, I'm so sorry I made this mistake. I'm so sorry. So please remember our sign, our rishis and munis, जो आपको बताया गया है कि अर्धनारीश्वर, उसके ऊपर हम काफी बोल सकते हैं, अभी टाइम नहीं है बोलने का. We are all intersex on single cell level. और बाहर का जेनेटिलिया जो है जनरेशन के लिए बनाया गया है मेल फीमेल का. Next please, and you can see अर्धनारीश्वर. So when I joined Dr. Shu's laboratory, he gave me 9 animals. These are rat actually, very big rat. And I did not know how to do tissue culture at that time. So I had to learn also that from technician. So I cultured cells, make chromosome preparation, and did binding. And I was not able to karyotype 3 animals from that. I worked day and night, went to my puja room, 4 o'clock, early in the morning, working on the chromosomes. Finally, I found the answer in my puja room. That these 3 animals were hybrid. They were not told to me. And with great courage, I went to Tishishu and told him, sir, there are 3 hybrid animals. He jumped from his chair. He said, no, you are wrong. There are no hybrid animals. And he was so mad with me on the very first project. He was so mad. He immediately asked his secretary to call the animal supplier Mr. Holmes, I still remember his name. Holmes was not available. Next day he called back and he told Dr. Shu, there are 3 animals out of 9, they are hybrid. In first one I have cut the first toe, second one second toe, third one third toe. And those are the 3 animals I identified by chromosome analysis, that they are hybrid. Then Dr. Shu told me, Sen, you are not going anywhere. You are staying in India. So Shu is dead. His position was given to me. Now I am retired. Some of my Indian students, they are taking care of them. So again, right over here, rodents. So I am grateful to Ganesh ji that because of him, I am an Indian also. Next please. Here are the chromosomes you are seeing of this hybrid. You cannot match. The long arm of this chromosome is matching with the long arm of this chromosome. The long arm of this chromosome is matching with this single chromosome. So I published this paper in 1973 and I presented this in one of the meetings in Philadelphia, in Florida. A lot of people came and they pat my back. Big names. And I was so elated. And this all came because of Ganesha ji, his blessings. Okay, next please. So I will pass on this slide. Mishra ji, I have so many stories to tell. So I will briefly mention to you, every species in nature that we see. Cancer is like a species. So there is a similarity over here. When a species, purpose of a species is to survive. Okay. I have 10 minutes only time. So, a species, let's say a group of, deers are chasing, and one mama deer gave birth to a baby deer. Fawn was born. So fawn has to protect itself from natural predators. Lions, tigers, hyena, they will grab the baby. Fawn, if he is able to run with the herd, then he can survive. And then for survival of the species, you have plenty of food and water supply. That's why animal migration is very famous. And species has to be breeder. They have to produce, otherwise they cannot survive. So I equated this with cancer also. Cancer cells, when they originate in our body, they want to survive by hook or crook. And they have to protect themselves from natural predators. Our T cells, killer T cells, dendritic cells, immune system. They have to protect. Okay? We have a Nobel Prize winner in our institute on this topic. That's it. So if they have protected themselves, cancer cells, then they should have plenty of growth factors and angiogenic factors. They have to derive nourishment. They make themselves or derive from the normal cells. They make new vessels. Judah Folkman would have gotten Nobel Prize, but he died actually. This is his area. So the cancer cells migrate within the body of the patient. They go to lymph node, from lymph node they go to circulatory system, and they go anywhere, wherever they get nourishment, they settle down and grow. So that metastasis is equivalent to migration of animal. And of course, cancer cell have to be prolific division. If a patient comes to our hospital and diagnosis is poorly differentiated cancer, it is a bad news for the patient, good news for the cancer cell. Highly differentiated, good news for the patient, bad news for the cancer cell. So this is very important. Based on this, we have written a lot of papers. Next, please. Next, I'm going to pass on all this. So I'm going to praise little bit our work. At one time, there were 5 professors in MD Anderson from zoology department of BHU. 5 professors. And I told John Mendelsohn, the president, that there are 5 professors. He said, Sen, I don't believe it. Even from MIT, there are not 5. So I counted the number. Look, these are the 5. He said, hey, I want to see that university, that zoology department. I said, okay. So Lalji Singh was vice chancellor of BHU at that time. Some of you might remember this name. Lalji was very well known to me, very junior to me. I showed him snake chromosomes. Unfortunately, he died very young age with heart attack. So, I told Lalji that I'm bringing my president of the hospital and your vice chancellor, stay in the campus. Don't go to Delhi or anywhere else. He said, Pathak ji, हम stay करेंगे. So, हुए, हम ले गए president को. So here is our president, John Mendelsohn, his wife, and he said, I want to go to zoology department. So we went to zoology department. I did not know who is chairman at that time. But this young lady was the chairperson. So I knew where the office is. I knocked at the door, and she said, yes. I said, my name is Sen Pathak. I'm a former student of this department. I have brought my president and so on. She said, oh, Dr. Pathak, we know you very well. Please come on. So we all went, and the chairperson is sitting here, president is sitting here, his wife is there, and we know this guy. So she has no preparation. Now I'm going to tell you something Indian, what happened over here. John Mendelsohn, before he died, he used to remember this. This lady, this Chaturvedi, some Chaturvedi, very junior to me. So she actually offered us tea, and in her drawer she has some biscuits. Biscuit and tea she offered us. We took it. And then my professor told, the president told me, next slide please, that I want to see that lecture room where you were student. So here is the lecture room. He asked me where you used to sit, third row. He has grabbed my hand. He is sitting over there, asked somebody to take the photograph. So this is my lecture room where I was student in Banaras. Now, before he died, our president, he used to say, saying, I still remember that chairman of the department. She gave us just biscuit and tea. Nothing is there, no samosa, no jalebi, nothing. But the way she presented, that was very important. This is the culture of India. You need to remember this. The way she presented. My president was so moved. He was so moved. I cannot describe it. So when I went to the zoology department and gave a lecture, I mentioned about this. By that time, this lady was retired, and the professor, chairman was there, and she stood up. She said, say, Dr. Pathak, I was chairman at that time. So this is Indian culture, sanskara. Please remember this. Next slide, please. I will cut all this. Go to next one. I will not talk. There is no time over here. Okay? I made a statement in 1976 about circulating precancerous cell. And MDs in medicine told me, you are comparing apple with oranges. They discarded my idea. Today, everybody believes in circulating tumor. Since Pentel wrote a first note in 2010. I will not elaborate, there's no time because 10 minutes time I have. Next slide, please. Go to next one, go to next one, no, go to next one, go to next one, go to next one, go to next one, go to next one. Next. These are all unpublished data I'm sharing with you. Next. Okay, this I want to tell you. There are companies nowadays, they will take your blood and they will identify what cancer you are going to develop and you have developed. One is California, now Gallery test. It is not yet approved by FDA, but they are doing this. See? M23, blood-based liquid biopsy for circulating tumor cells. Pentel made this, and I have already said in 1976 that from blood we can get a lot of information. Now we are getting. So the slide I pass on very quickly. I can take, you are a healthy person, I can take your blood, and after studying their chromosomes, I can tell you what kind of cancer you might develop. It is possible. So it will help us in cancer prevention. Next please. Okay. Go to next. I'm not going to talk about this. Go to next please. Next. Okay. Herman Muller, Nobel laureate, Barbara McIlroy, Nobel laureate. My professor got his PhD in the book. They have worked on the end of the chromosome called telomere. You might have heard nowadays messages coming up. So if you give me blood from a newly born baby, middle-aged person, very old person, don't tell me the age. By looking at the telomere, I can tell you this blood is coming from very old person, this blood is coming from very young person, this blood is coming from middle-aged. You get old because you lose your telomere. This is one characteristic. There is a recent paper I just saw that interleukin 11 is secreted more in the old age. That is still controversial. A lot of papers people are writing. Next, please. So go to next one. Go to next one. Next, please. Okay. Now, if you go to doctors, give your blood for differential counting and this counting, that counting, your telomere will be measured also. Already 3 companies are working. One is Life Length. This is Maria Blasco in Europe. Elizabeth Blackburn got Nobel Prize. She has a company also, and there is this gentleman in Houston, I don't know who is this person, but he is also charging. So your blood will be tested for your telomere now. And based on that, because telomere attrition is responsible for genetic instability. And that is one of the true cause of cancer. Next, please. So I'm going to talk this about, and anybody working in the field of biology will know this. This is Henrietta Lacks. From her cervix, the tissue was removed. She was suffering with cancer. And cell line was established. It is called HeLa, H-E-L-A. And Dr. Guy in 1950 established the cell line. And everybody thought this is a cervical carcinoma cell line. This farm boy standing in front of you has changed the pathology. She was suffering with breast cancer. So HeLa is a breast cancer cell line. Please remember this, anybody who is working in the field. This is a picture of Henrietta Lack wax, in the wax museum. Next please. Okay, so pathology of HeLa was in the doubt from the very beginning. Epidermoid carcinoma of the cervix, then later on it became adenocarcinoma of the cervix. We changed the pathology in 1979. It is adenocarcinoma of the breast, and there are many papers written. Now I want to share this story with you, because whenever I talk about this story, I cry. So there was a patient in MD Anderson, black lady. Her body was filled with cancer cells, and she was suffering with breast cancer. So we got the liquid biopsy, we made direct chromosome preparation, isozyme, everything, and we found that 5 or 6 marker chromosomes, they were identical to HeLa. 13 isozyme loci, they were identical to HeLa. But she has breast cancer. So I presented this paper in Denver in one of the tissue culture meeting. And the president-elect of that association, very famous scientist, I can mention his name also, Walter Nelson Rees, he died actually. He insulted me in front of everybody because my full-length paper was sent to him for review, and he rejected, and he prepared the written review of my paper and distributed to everybody after my lecture. I did not criticize him, I simply said that my data tells that HeLa could be a breast cancer cell line, not cervical carcinoma. And he criticized me so badly. So that evening I decided I climbed on the building, and from 2nd floor I was going to jump and kill myself. This is a true story. And I was insulted more by Indian scientists than American. When I was walking, a couple of Indian people came and said, I think paper padhna hai, bade paper padhne aaye the. We should not be that kind of slave. If something comes to your idea, stick to that. You are not going against your professor. You are not going against. If you can repeat it over and over again, stick to that. So, at last moment, my inner feeling came, hey, you are right, don't do this. So I'm saved. I'm still saved. That professor from California, Walter Nelson, his grants were cut completely. He became without any grant. 2 years he survived. He sold his mother's antique, and after that he died. So this is the story. This is for younger generation. You might face this kind of situation in this country. Please be prepared for that. Next. Here is the chromosome you are seeing. This is the HeLa, and this is my patient. HeLa, my patient, HeLa, patient, HeLa, patient, HeLa, patient, HeLa, patient. And these are the unique chromosomes of that cell line. So next please, very quickly. Recently in MD Anderson, in May 4th, 2016, a symposium was held, The Power of One, the Legacy of Henrietta Lacks. And this young lady used to be my technician. Now she's an associate professor. So in the lab, I always talk about this thing. Even during lunch, we talk about science. So she has heard the story. So when this legacy of this symposium was held, I was not an invited speaker. But she invited me for the breakfast. So I went there and she told me why this meeting is. So I carried a copy of my paper published in 1979. So this lady and this lady, these are great-granddaughters of Henrietta Lacks. Great-granddaughters and granddaughters. So I mentioned about, after breakfast, that Henrietta Lacks was suffering with breast cancer, not with cervical carcinoma, in my opinion. And what these two girls told us, Dr. Pathak, you have actually put the connecting link together. In their family, nobody has developed cervical carcinoma except Henrietta Lacks, which scientists have put in the literature. But 4 or 5 people have developed breast cancer. So this is another support to my idea. Next, please. Okay, I will leave this one also. This is from Baylor College of Medicine story. Here is cancer cell transform normal host cells in the malignant cell. Some of you will remember this name. Andrew von Eichenbach, he was director of FDA, NCI, and then he became commissioner of FDA, retired. He was chairman of urology in our institute. People thought that if you take human tumor, inject into nude mice, what grows over there is always human. That is totally wrong. I proved Dr. Josh Fidler, some of you might be knowing, working in cell biology. Josh Fidler became world famous because of this work. I had changed his opinion. 40% of the time, something else is coming out. Either mixture of human and mouse, or only mouse coming out. Human is gone. Next, please. You can see here, this is a human prostate cancer cell line. Very famous cell line, look at the chromosome. This was injected in a group of mice, male mice. Next slide, please. Tumor developed. This is one mouse, this is another mouse. Look at this. Totally mouse chromosome. Human chromosomes are not there. So here is a transformation. So this is giving us another idea that in human, when cancer cells are metastasized to distant organ, in some patient, they have capability to transform the normal cells over there. So you are talking about 2 tumors over there. One original one and one new one. This is a new thing that has come out from this. Next, please. Next. You can see contamination. This is all from MD Anderson. This is kidney cancer, 21 samples were submitted to us, only 14 are human, 3 are mouse, 4 are mixture of this. This is only from human, not to talk of other institutions where we are actually cleaning this dirt situation. Next, please. So I got very tired. So 19 scientists of this country, we wrote a letter to Secretary of Health Education to government of US. Next, please. This is the letter. You might identify this signature of mine. Next. This is better signature. So I am one of those 19. We wrote this letter with 2 recommendations, that if any scientist has written a grant application on cell lines, and grant application has been approved by the reviewers, that very good grant money should be released. If they have not authenticated the cell line, grant money should not be released. This is one recommendation. Second, If they have submitted a paper in say, Science, Nature, good journals, happy, this high impact journal, and the reviewers have accepted the paper, and if they have not authenticated the cell line, paper should not be published. Today, there are almost 30 journals. If you write a paper on cell line, if you have not authenticated, they will reject it. So now every institution in our hospital also we have, your cell line has to be authenticated. Whether it is really human, if it is human, if it is breast cancer, or it is mouse, or it is lung cancer, or this and this all over them. Otherwise, billions of dollars are going in the sink. Billions of dollars in this country. Not to talk of India and Pakistan and those countries. Next, please. Next, I will pass on this. Next. So, telomere, that is the end of the chromosome, it is involved in so many things. This is the old slide of mine. Also, it is involved in infertility, and we have done work in all these areas. Next, please. Next. So, here is the Nobel laureate Elizabeth Blackburn, who got Nobel Prize on telomere work. So, I invited her in MD and nursing. After the talk, we are discussing something. Next, please. Okay, now I have to tell you something. Our work is really recognized by, I'm not praising, my master degree student has produced this picture. Her name is Diane Mary. She is now a very good scientist in NCI when she was doing master degree. And this human sample was given to us where human has only 45 chromosomes instead of 46. Because 2 chromosomes in this were fused together. So this is the fusion product you are seeing. So we took actually antibody from lupus patient and stained it. So lupus actually, and that antibody stains only the active centromere, inactive is down. So this is the picture you are seeing. Now this picture is made by my master degree student, and this picture is published on the frontispiece of this book, T-Cell, James D. Watson, you all know, Nobel laureate. So our student produced good work, I'm just telling you, not ordinary work. Next, please. So next, please. I have to cut. This is the Peter Nowell, who discovered Philadelphia chromosome, was a very good friend of mine. He passed away. I will not go into detail how Janet Rowley was equally very well known to me. I used to go to University of Chicago to teach course in our department, but both are dead now. Next, please. Next. Please go faster. Next. Okay. I want to tell the whole group, if you want to remain young, protect your telomere. Whenever I talk to my students, they tell me I have not changed. I'm the same. No, I tell them, no, I have changed. I'm 84 years old. You can see my driver's license, which I don't have right now. So, one of the things is protect your telomere. How can you protect your telomere? I have talked to this sadhu from India. I'm forgetting his name. Yeah, it will come to my mind. Don't stress yourself. Any kind of stress, social, financial, positional, any kind of stress. Just be happy, whatever happens. Think that God is doing it. You are just a liaison to do the thing. Result in His hand. Karmandevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachata. Please remember this. Very, very important. By doing that, you can really protect your telomere and you can remain healthy. Death will come. Whenever it is mentioned, death will come, no doubt about that. Next, please. Next. This is a family I am studying right now. 2 brothers of this family, they live in California, they are dead. This is dying. This brother lives in Houston. They all have same mutations. 4, 5 gene sequencing has been done. They all have pathogenic mutations. But 2 are dead, 3rd one is dying. He is hale and hearty because this brother is completely sattvic. You understand the meaning of sattvic? Okay? He runs Sitaram Foundation, big foundation in Houston. Dashara, hajaro aadmi aate hain. So he is hale and hearty. The lesson over here is that you can inherit mutation, deleterious mutation from your parents, own parents. But if you lead a sattvic life, you can bypass the deleterious effect of that mutation. That is the conclusion. The sattvic life is so important. Next, please. Before his sequencing was done, I had worked on the chromosomes of this guy. Look at this. Normal chromosomes are like this. There is diceltic chromosomes in his blood. So that gave me the idea that I can take blood from asymptomatic individual and I can tell what kind of cancer you are going to develop. So you can take precautions. Next, please. Next. So this is a story, the first ever recorded instance of human tumors and of the treatments with surgery or by applying ointment containing arsenic to them was made in a Hindu epic called Ramayana about 2000 BC. And when I mentioned this to my chairman, he could not believe. So I had to show him this paper. Look at this guy. And he's from Harvard Medical School, Boston. He's not from India, he's from Boston. So we have to be very proud of our heritage, our rishis and munis. Next, please. Okay. This is about eating. Somebody was talking about eating. They have identified gene. In Drosophila, they have identified a gene called Indi. I am not dead yet. So Drosophila survives only 24 days, egg to adult animal. But if you knock down one gene of this Indi, then Drosophila will survive 150 days, 175 days. This is fasting, because this gene controls the calories uptake in the cell. So fasting is so important, what our rishis and munis have said. Do fasting, because by doing so, you can develop in your system, for which a Japanese got Nobel Prize called autophagy. Today they are talking about autophagy. Some cells that are old, they will die. Other cells can use their parts, like you have a car, old car, and you take the parts from another car. So that is what is happening in our cell body also. But this is a Drosophila. This guy got Nobel Prize for that. Autophagy. Next. This is Drosophila. I am not dead yet. NDG. Next. So in Balkan, today I was telling to a group that we are talking about human syndromes. Petau syndrome, Edwards syndrome, this syndrome, that syndrome. They are taking credit. Phenotype they are describing. But it is already described in the Balkan of our Ramcharitmanas. All those guns of Mahesha's Bharati, they were all human syndromes. If you go and read it, you will find them. Next, please. So here it is said, Ko mukhin bipul mukkahu vinpad kar ko bahupad bahu bipul nain ko nain bihina rist pust ko atitak khina. These are the characteristics of those human syndromes. Yes, phenotype is already described thousands of years ago in our Ramayana. Yes, today we are giving genotype. Yes, this chromosome is come, this chromosome is less, that's why we are getting this. Next, please. So these are some of the human syndromes I have listed. Next. I will not talk about this. I'm writing an article on this. Next. Okay, this is very important. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. This sequence you cannot change, in my opinion. So, धर्म के रास्ते पर चल के जितना अर्थ कमाना है कमाइए. There is no limit. There is absolutely no limit in our धर्म शास्त्र. लेकिन धर्म के रास्ते पर चल के किसी का गला दबा के मत. ठीक है? धर्म के रास्ते पर चल के जितना अर्थ कमाना है, कुबेर के पास कितना धन था, उतना धनी आजकल कोई नहीं, हटाने खटाने भी नहीं है, तो कमाइए. और उस धन से अपनी डिजायर जो है, काम का मतलब कि वो फिजिकल अट्रैक्शन नहीं है, मिल नहीं है, कोई भी इच्छा आपकी हो सकती है, अच्छी बात, उसको पूरा करिए. ये लिखा हुआ है हमारे धर्मशास्त्र. और अल्टीमेट एम हमारी लाइफ का क्या है? मोक्ष, लिबरेशन फ्रॉम बर्थ एंड डेथ. वो बहुत रेयरली मिलता है, लेकिन दिस इज द अल्टीमेट एम. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. हियर ब्राह्मण निर्धन होगा तो बनेगा सुदामा. फिर एक दिन श्री कृष्ण उसकी सेवा करेंगे। ब्राह्मण अपमानित होगा तो बनेगा चाणक्य, फिर एक दिन नए राज्य की स्थापना होगी। ब्राह्मण सठिया जाएगा तो बनेगा परशुराम, शुक्ल जी बता रहे थे। फिर एक दिन पापियों का नाश कर देगा। ब्राह्मण पढ़ेगा तो बनेगा आर्यभट्ट, एक दिन पूरे विश्व को जीरो देकर जाएगा। ब्राह्मण जब वेद धर्म का विनाश देखेगा तो बनेगा आदि शंकराचार्य, फिर एक दिन वैदिक धर्म की स्थापना करेगा। ब्राह्मण जब लोगों को बीमार देखेगा तो बन जाएगा चरक ऋषि, फिर एक दिन पूरे विश्व को आयुर्वेद दे जाएगा। ब्राह्मण ने हमेशा अपने ज्ञान के प्रकाश के विश्व को प्रकाशित किया। I say Brahman is the Agni of society. अग्नि क्या करते हैं? प्यूरिफाई करते हैं। किसी घर में कोई मर जाता है तो किसको बुलाते हैं? ब्राह्मण आओ या आपको पूजा कराएंगे, प्यूरिफाई करता है। तो ब्राह्मण इज द अग्नि ऑफ आवर सोसाइटी, ह्यूमन सोसाइटी। सो ब्राह्मण को सब प्रणाम। पंडित जी सब प्रणाम है ब्राह्मण समाज को, एंड यू आर टेकिंग केयर ऑफ दिस। ओके, नेक्स्ट प्लीज। Okay, now I am going to conclude my talk with Vedic mantra. Om asato ma sadgamaya tapasho ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma tamgamaya. Om sahana bhavatu sahano bhunaktu sah virjam karvavahi tejasvina avadhitamastu ma vidyashavahi. Om shanti shanti shanti. And thank you so very much for this.
Which one is your favorite flower?
My favorite flower?
Favorite flower.
Any flower is a flower. I don't have any favorite flower. But if you talk my study, chromosomes is my flower. Everything is.
Somebody in the back has a question. Just a second. Please come forward. Thank you for your
दो हाथ है,
question.
नहीं इधर दो हाथ है, इधर दो हाथ।
I saw him first. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about the connection between haplogroup and Gotra?
Sir, that is not my area. Haplogroup is not my area. And Gotra I can talk, but not on haplogroup. Sorry.
Go ahead. Next question, please.
The youngsters have short-term memory, and we are fortunate to get how do we need youngsters on a regular basis so they can be guided? Is there a way, is there a medium where we can bring in youngsters, whether through a blog or through something that constantly reminds them what summarized here in the 54 years?
I wish I could answer you. I wish I could answer you with some concrete points. But when I was young, I was the same way. I used to forget. So perhaps it has come with the experience. There is a word called experience. When you have experience in your life, my father had only 5th grade education. My mother was Angtha Chap. She died when I was only 5 years old. But my father has given me certain teachings. I still remember that. He did not do PhD or anything. He has only 5th grade education. Experience. So with experience we learn that. Maybe that child you are talking, when the child will grow, have experience, he or she will remember much more than what he or she is remembering right now. That is the only answer I know. Ji, बोलिए.
It was a treat to listen to you. One of the best scientific and, of course, altogether Dharma's talk I have heard today.
Thank you, sir.
Round of applause.
Thank you. Actually,
कहाँ कहीं प्रिंट होगा या कहीं है?
Ji, what is that?
आपकी जो
It is up to the organizers.
I think you can put it on Bhasna website. Copy.
show to the gate.
No. You can take
Yeah, so
it.
we'll put a link on Bhasna website.
Thank you.
Bhasna.org.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
ऐसा एक क्वेश्चन पूछना
Yes, sir. आपको तो हम टाइम देंगे लेक्चर के बाद, जितना बात करना है आपसे बहुत सीखना है मेरे को। जी।
मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि जैसे सतयुग, त्रेतायुग, द्वापर युग, कलयुग, एज डिफरेंस
Yes.
द्वापर में जो है
Yeah.
ये 1000 साल की बताई गई है, कलयुग में 100 साल की, 10,000 कुछ इस तरह से वेदों में लिखा है।
Good.
ठीक है, तो क्या ये टेलोमर से कुछ relation?
Good. Okay, very good question. The question is that early days we used to live 100, 500 years, 600 years. Today we are living less than 100 years. Whether telomere has anything to do, I want to tell you, turtle survives 400, 500 years. Why? Their breath per minute is 4 or 5. Okay? So when you do pranayam, your number of breath per minute is drastically reduced. And you take deep respiration. You take more oxygen pump in your system. That's deep respiration than you do in ordinary way. This is one reason. The second reason I am going to share with you, you all think that we are in a very nice house, well-placed, air-conditioned, beautiful. You are surrounded by a lot of toxins over here. Think of painting and everything that is done in this hall. Think about that. You go to Brazil, I go there regularly to teach course. In jungle people live. They are centenarians, more than 100 years, more than 100 years. Why? They are close to nature. They lead a natural life. We don't live a natural life. Our life is artificial, completely artificial. So this could be another reason for that. Yeah.